Many people say that music is a universal language. If that's the case, I would like to use music as a platform to talk about health. My name is Dr. Moshe Lewis, and I'm a full-time practicing physician who loves music and the way it affects our brains, our bodies, and our well-being. I would like to invite you to tune in where we interview musical artists about health matters that are important to them. But the truth is, we'll be discussing topics that affect all of us. From mental health to body image, cancer screening to stroke, our health is truly our greatest asset. So the goal is to open the dialogue on health to embrace topics that we don't always like to talk about in a way that's raw, candid, and lit. Hopefully, these discussions will improve the health of our community. After all, your health matters to me, and if I can make it sound more beautiful, then that's something we should all listen to. Music and medicine, when you hear those words, how do they speak to your heart?
Music and medicine. Music is medicine. You feel me?
I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. Really excited to be joined today by my co-host, Kathleen Bradley. Always good to see you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here as always. And, you know, every day is a new day, a fresh day, and wonderful people that are coming by to see us and telling us their stories. So exciting. I can't wait.
Yeah, simply amazing. And today, musical royalty here, funk music royalty, Felton Pilate from Con Funk Shun. And I have to say how fortunate we are. You actually live in Georgia, happen to be visiting us in California where we're shooting today. Yeah. And thanks so much for being willing to drop by.
My pleasure. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me.
Sure, no, absolutely.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Yeah, and we've talked before and becoming friends. I just love it. We've got to roll that clock all the way back to Vallejo, California, Northern, which is now where I live, and just how you got started. Because I know, obviously, frontman, vocalist, musician with Con Funk Shun. How did you get started in music to begin with?
Wow. There's been a piano in my house as far back as I can remember. And I remember my parents had actually left me in Jackson, Mississippi to live with my grandmother. My father was a medical doctor. So he got stationed here. So in the process of moving to Vallejo, my father took my mother and my two younger sisters out to California, left me living with my grandmother, who had a piano in her house, right? And I was always tinkling the piano. I took private piano lessons and then trumpet lessons. I wanted to play the drums. As a matter of fact, in 5th grade, I auditioned to play the drums in the band, and they said, "No, we have 2 drummers. We're going to give you a trumpet." And there was a momentous moment in my life that happened, and that when I wanted to learn how to play guitar, and my mother says, "No, I've given you piano lessons. I'm not paying for guitar lessons," right? I wound up asking my piano teacher, "How do you tune a guitar?" Right? And so I knew what the strings were, I knew what the frets did, so I actually had mapped out on paper, well, if that's a C chord, that C, mi, fa, so I actually knew several chords on guitar before I even helped one, right? Okay. And so I'm in the middle of learning to play guitar, and my neighbor who lived around the corner, he was a grade older than me, and he had an older brother who was always in the papers every week in Vallejo, right? This guy was the it in Vallejo, right? Yeah. Every weekend he was playing somebody's fashion show, and his younger brother at 17 is tired of living in his brother's shadow. So he's going to start his own band, right? And he heard that I was learning to play guitar, so he asked me to play in his band. I'm like, yes, yes, this is great. This is great. So we're about 3 or 4. I remember the first song we learned was "Tighten Up" by Archie Bell and Drills. Our first song, I'm like, 2 chords. I got this. Okay, great, great. Yeah. So he says, "We're gonna learn the song Alpha." I'm like, great. Now at this point, my voice hadn't changed over yet. I can sing Alpha in Dionne Warwick's key. Yeah. I got this. I said, "Man, I love that song. Let me sing it."
Right. Stick to the bass.
What? I tell you what, Felton, why don't you come over to our audition? So he had me come over to his house that Saturday morning. He played piano. I sang my heart out, and he told me, and I quote, "Felton, if I were you, I would stick to playing guitar because you'll never ever make it as a singer." Mm-hmm. Him telling me that is the reason why I get to sit here talk with you now. because I quit immediately and started my own band.
Okay.
All right. I sang lead vocals in my band, right? And when my band broke up, the other momentous thing that happened was that Michael Cooper showed up on my doorstep, said, "Hey man, heard your group broke up. Would you consider joining my band?" I said, "No, I'll think about it." Yeah. Right. So those two events there were, like I said, were huge. Again, the reasons why I'm able to sit and talk to you now. I joined Michael Cooper's band called Project Soul. We wound up being the backup band for the Soul Children, a recording group out of Memphis, Tennessee, for on Stax Records. They hired us in the first week of August of 1972. 3 weeks later, we're here in Los Angeles at the LA Coliseum in front of 104,000 people, not only playing backup for them, but also playing backup for Rufus Thomas. So for those of you who have seen or not seen Watt Stax, if you see Rufus Thomas, that is the group that will eventually become Con Funk Shun, standing behind him. We did 10 albums for Polygram, 4 gold albums, and a platinum album. I left Con Funk Shun for a while to pursue something different. The original plan was for me to become a solo artist. God had other plans. Michael left to become a solo artist. I wound up meeting a guy named Stanley Burrell, who was calling himself the Holy Ghost Boy at the time. So I did a record on him. He got dropped from the label of Fantasy Records up in Berkeley. He got dropped from the label. I got dropped from the label. My assistant engineer in my studio, his name's James Early, dropped him from the label. So now we have the 3 of us working together, and we're in the studio. Changed his name to MC Hammer. Right.
Oh,
and the rest is this. Okay,
sweet. Oh, that is amazing.
So it's been an incredible journey. You know, I know you're limited time, man. We could be here for hours.
Oh, no. We want to hear your story.
Your first memories of the group, because you remember them under Project Soul.
Oh my God! And just to find out that you worked at Watt Stax, that is just incredible, so phenomenal, and just so historic. You know, they just recently had a special on it. Did you see it? Somebody produced that Watt Stax special. It was just out.
Right. Well, Larry Dodson's covering some of it.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know about it, but just to be a part of that, I'm amazed. And to hear about your, growing up and how you start out, it's always wonderful to hear how artists start and begin, and the people that you come in contact with. I didn't know what's his name's name was MC Hammer. I didn't know that was his name. So now every minute you're saying something, I'm like so intrigued. But I know that Con Funk Shun, and we talked about Mavericks Flat. You were there under a different name, and a lot of groups and people came through there, and just to know and be a part of that era that you were in, I'm a little bit from that same 70s, 80s era and different things, but your music has just brought so much joy and happiness to so many people. Is there any other song that maybe that you did perform on your own that we may have ever heard, or did it get out there? Why do you think it is that you just didn't make it as that solo artist?
I'm not sure. I know that when I first left Con Funk Shun, I wound up working with the gentleman who eventually introduced me to MC Hammer, right? And I had signed a deal with him to be one of the first artists on the new Volt Records. Fantasy had purchased the whole Stax Volt catalog, and they were going to renew Volt Records. So I was the first new artist on Volt Records. The gentleman who signed me, his name was Fred Pittman, and he had a production deal with Fantasy. And so he had been the song, which was supposed to be an answer to, what was the song by Casanova.
Right.
Mm-hmm,
So he wrote these lyrics called Cleopatra.
Okay.
So he had me write the music track for it. We recorded it, and Fantasy released it. I sold maybe 300 copies. I'm convinced that my mother probably. But again, I'm convinced that God just had other plans.
And, and being in this business too, it kind of boils down to the right material, and then obviously to promotions and putting it out there for the song to be heard, because some of the not the best songs in the world can make it out there if you have the right management, promotions, and people putting it out there. If you hear it long enough, you're gonna like it for the most part. So I'm sure, trying to be a different style of person, you have to come into your own after you leave a group and everything, and so people can know you and recognize you. It's a lot involved, but you gave it a try.
Yeah.
And like you said, God had something definitely planned different for you.
Because after releasing that one record, the original plan was to go with polygams and noble pairs. But like I said, it led me in another direction, producing MC Hammer and selling over 50 million copies as producer and co-writer. That's huge. I got nominated for producing album of the year. And I was totally, oh my God, I heard that. I was like on cloud 9 for a couple of days until they told me who else I was running against. Quincy Jones.
Okay.
No,
good company. Good company.
Right.
That's why I say it feels so good to be nominated. When you're spending time in that league, that's not bad.
I had to settle for that. Well, it was nice to be nominated.
Right.
But yeah, it really was. When I thought about it in those terms, oh my God, I'm in the same sentence as Quincy Jones.
And Mike and Felton who? Quincy. Oh yeah, that guy. Okay, that's still phenomenal.
And I want to go back and tease out, because you covered a lot in a little bit of time. When you talk about your time with Con Funk Shun, talk to us about, we'll bring it current, about how its music, the music of that group, continues to resonate today, and just sort of the big boost that came with Bruno Mars acknowledging you all in Love Train.
On a smaller level, every other concert, someone has walked up to me and said that they love one of my songs, one of my 53 songs that I wrote for Con Funk Shun, right? That they got married to it. Wow. How much it changed their lives, or how it makes them feel whenever that they go back to it. And we were blessed as Con Funk Shun to be able to write music that connects with people, that touches them. And it's such a huge honor to hear that. As a matter of fact, one couple had "Straight from the Heart" engraved on the inside of their rings. We've been told that our music speaks to generations.
Yes.
And I think the real music that tries to reach. I mean, there's a reason why "Endless Love" by Lionel Richie is still one of the most requested songs at weddings today. I mean, there's a reason for that. And when artists strive to touch people's hearts as opposed to their pocketbooks, I think it works out well.
Absolutely. I want to also memorialize this most recent concert, because it's a big deal, because you mentioned Want Stacks, Fool in Love. Talk to us about getting the invite, and it was essentially, to me, almost like the 50th anniversary of Want Stacks. There's so many of the groups that were there.
I was blown away. I mean, there's a part of me that's, forget the artist, forget the word. I'm just a fan. I'm like, oh my God, look at all these names. And I had to spend a moment walking with my phone, actually making a recording of everyone's name and getting a chance to be backstage and talk to all these people. This is something specific. Back in 2000, we did a project called United We Funk. And that had the Barkays, Con Funk Shun, the Daz Band, the SOS Band, and the Gap Band, all on stage at the same time. All of us playing each other's music. All 5 of us were backstage. I mean, so that was a huge reunion moment.
When was that? I missed that one.
Yeah,
How
just
did
a
I
few
miss
weeks
that?
ago.
That
Yeah.
one.
That concert.
Oh, that concert,
and,
yes.
and all 5 of the acts.
I heard about it too.
Where
was I?
I got to be a fan. I got,
Yeah, your music is so full and rich, and the horns and everything, and just coming into the time frame and period that when you guys started out was just like you say, everything happens for a reason and timing and everything, and it's just something so universal now to this day. You can't go anywhere and not hear fun, all this, and the band and the horn, and and moving and tapping your foot and everything. It's just innovative. It was just different at the time when it came out and what have you. It still is, actually,
I'm doing something that you asked earlier. Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak as Silk Sonic did not tell us in advance that they were going to record Love's Train. Michael called me on Valentine's Day, 2 years ago now. Phil, have you heard this? Heard what? And he just sent me the link, right? Okay. I'm listening to it. I'm hearing somebody else do Love's Train. But not just somebody else. Bruno Mars, which then later, when we were invited out to Las Vegas, right, had a chance to be at the concert to watch Silk Sonic perform my song. That was a unique sensation, right? I'm standing in a crowd of 10,000 people. Someone else is singing my song, and the audience is like, and they know it, right? They're singing with it. Half the time I wasn't paying attention to what's going on stage. I'm, wow,
right?
I was
what validation?
Blown away. That was huge. That was Bruno Mars, one of the biggest artists today, saying this song means just as much 40 years later as it did.
That's and then some. Isn't that amazing? I love it.
On that note, do you sense that as you were writing these lyrics, like you said, over 50 songs, that they could have that type of an impact? Maybe not that specific type of an event, but you really were putting your heart, soul, and passion into every word.
I had no idea of what it was going to do past the next couple of weeks. Anytime I was writing a song for Con Funk Shun, my immediate goal was to express what's in my heart, or sometimes not necessarily my heart, but just what's on my mind, and get it on the album, right? That's the first goal, right? But I never wanted to write something that my mother wouldn't be proud of.
I like that.
Nice.
Right.
That's a good motto.
She was going to have to listen to it. I always gave her a copy of the gold albums that we got. And no, I had no idea that the music would last as long. Like I said, I just wanted something good enough for people to appreciate. As I look back, I'm honored. I'm blown away, even surprised sometimes.
Sure. I've been blessed to be in the room with you several times on special occasions, and one of those was receiving the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and then piggybacking, getting to see you somewhat passing the torch and the honor on to Tavis Smiley. Talk to us about the importance of that award, what it meant to you.
When I got that award 2 years ago, it was this whole surprise, something that my wife Jennifer managed to make happen, along with the honorary doctorate degree. And I remember saying at my birthday party, after I finished crying enough to be able to speak, I remember saying that I can't wait for someone to ask what I got for my birthday.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Shortly after, it dawned on me the importance of this thing here, right? I saw it as not so much as a representation or an acknowledgement of what I've done, but there's now a beacon of what I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
of what I need to do from this moment forward to continue the momentum. I was so proud to be standing in the room with Taffy Smiley, who has already done so much, you know. He's given back, huge amounts. And to be there and stand on the stage and hand him these awards, right? You know, but that was huge for me.
Right, I know.
You know, I guess.
And he probably felt the same way being with you. Absolutely, he did. So it went both ways. That was such a wonderful honor. Good for you. What's in store for you, like now coming up and future? Do you have any plans for?
A friend of mine and I have been working together for 20 years. He had a script that he had started writing 20 years ago. And my manager hooked me up with him, and he wanted me to write the music for this project. I was honored to be asked, and I said, here's a conversation that will not take place. Well, Felton, we're done with and now we're just waiting on you. No, we're not going to have that conversation. So I asked him for a copy of the script, and I started writing music just based on the description of the scenes. I'm trying to get a head start right now. Again, I'm not going to want them waiting on me. 20 years later, this script won Best Script at the Orlando Urban Film Festival last year. We've finally been able to put together the real production company. He and I are working as partners. I'm now president of the company. By the end of next year, we shall have filmed 2 major motion pictures, and we're finishing up the script for a television series. And I'm supposed to be doing the music for the whole kit and caboodle. Okay, so I'm in charge of getting the music done.
There you go.
You know, I'm not going to be able to do all this.
That's quite a feat. It's a lot.
I'm going to be calling up, hey, Stanley Clark, dude. Hey,
This is who I need.
help me out. Yeah, you know.
Paul Jackson.
Sure.
But yeah,
all the guys.
so in addition to continuing to tour and write for Con Funk Shun, I'm going to have a very full plate over the course of the next year or two.
Yes, you are. What's the movie about in general?
That specific movie is about a real life event that happened in World War II. 16,000 troops, more than 2/3 of them were black, were assigned the project to construct a road in Burma for supplies. In World War II. So they were fighting monsoons, disease, racism, and just a whole lot. So this movie is a fictional story of that specific real event.
That is correct. A lot of these stories are surfacing now,
Yeah,
finally,
so
and that
needs to be
people
told.
of color are able to promote and direct and write different fictional things that have happened in the past that we
stories.
never, our stories that we
Somehow
never
got
would
left
have
in
the
the books.
opportunity to know and find out
sure.
about. And that's great that you're a part of that.
Yeah.
When can we look forward to seeing it?
We were told that we need to start filming in June of next year. The plan
June of next year.
is to start filming up in Canada in June.
Oh,
Before that, one of the other motion pictures is about the Ike Turner story.
Right, sure. Wow.
yeah.
Ike Turner was born here. He died here. Tina takes up this portion here. We're discussing
His whole life.
Yeah,
entire.
I've heard tell about that from somebody else about the source and about his life, and it should be told. You know, he left a legacy here, and people should be able to see some different sides of him, and his despair and falling into the drugs and stuff. It's just unfortunate, and still he left a great mark in this world.
Absolutely. Sure.
So I've already recorded over 40 pieces of music for that already. Some of the music, since there's going to be a lot of live performances, has to be re-recorded for the actors to pantomime to. So I've already mapped out what songs are going to be performed, and of course I have to go back and reduplicate some of the Ike and Tina Turner live performances, and so it's been fun.
I'm looking forward. My manager's here, Ro Brooks, by the way. I'll be reading the script. I know there's something in there for you, girl.
Nothing like self-promotion.
Somebody's sister, son. All right.
Always a delight to have a true icon in funk music here with us today, Felton Pilate. The music continues to live in our souls and our hearts, and you continue to be so special and endearing and kind to me with your time and your music. So we continue to listen and look forward to continuing to hear great things. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Sure. Absolutely.